here is the perfect photo to make sure that we're getting the right car, the right violation, and we're being accurate and consistent. But that spot in here is different in the daytime and the nighttime, rain, sleet, snow, weather conditions affected. The camera, and with the built-in PC, will always get the right photo.
And one point to that too is every other camera provider out there can only give you a range of 0 to 256 opportunities to look at those images. So when we talk about this translating into more violations, we're able to do that because of the wide range that we have with the 12-bit of imaging, if that makes sense.
And it's not just more violations, it's more accurate violations. We don't make mistakes. We want to make sure that we're erring on the side of the driver, and we're only giving violations and tickets to people who have broken the law. That's the only people we want to take photos of. I talked a little bit about encryption, about the information the officer writes on the ticket and how we marry that. That's what allows us to, this computer in the camera allows us to have that one-pole solution. Everybody else takes the camera, takes the picture. The flash has to be way farther in front. If you go through Heath on 79, you see the camera, and then out there 10 or 15 feet in front's the flash, because the camera doesn't take good pictures, so the flash has to be closer to the car. And then you'll see some box somewhere attached to the pole or on the ground, and that's where the computer is. So camera takes the picture, and then all this data bar information, which they give you about half of what we give, is done in this camera in that box beside the road. And then somewhere after the fact, it's married together. And hopefully they don't make any mistakes and give somebody the wrong photo and the wrong data bar. It happens. Ours is done at the time of violation inside the camera for a bulletproof chain of evidence for the city attorney or for the prosecutor. We're going to tell you on this data bar the date, the time in military time, the lane. This is photo 2 of 2. This is the 9,660th violation of this camera. You're going to know exactly how many violations. Red light, how the intervals, the location, loop distances. This car is going 24 miles an hour. But a key thing that separates us is we measure all this stuff to the 100th of a second. This light was red for 1.46 seconds. We measure the yellow to 100th of a second. This light was yellow for 4.12 seconds. And then the car went through. But one of the things that we do that I like a lot about this company in terms about erring on the side of the driver is that we give every driver at every light timing, see the word, I don't know if you said delay, 0.1. We give every driver a 1/10 of a second benefit of the doubt. So the light turns red, there's a 1/10 of a second delay, and that's a long ways at 35 miles an hour. 1/10 of a second delay, then the camera arms itself and starts looking for violators. So in this particular case, this driver had 4.12 seconds of yellow time, a 1/10 of a second delay, and then an additional 1.46 seconds, and then they ran the red light. So I guess what I'm trying to say to you is, if you don't blatantly run the red light with Gatso, you're not going to get a ticket. Typical violation image. First picture at crossing the stop bar. You can see the light is red. Data bar information across the bottom. We take a second photo in the middle of the intersection. This car is going 48 miles an hour, and we have a red light violation. And then this, for a package of evidence, is backed up by a third photograph of the license plate, and then a 12-second video clip. So you can go online and watch yourself run the red light, which is always an exciting experience. Talk back to 12-bit imaging and the ability to work with the light and come up with the best photograph. This is a nighttime violation, and our violating vehicle is down here in the right-hand corner. That's what you can do with the 12-bit imaging camera. It's raining, our car has crossed the stop bar, our light is red. Second photo, same thing. Light's red there in the middle of the intersection. The normal view on the right of the license plate, we can do the negative feature. As the officer looks at it, we can flip it to negative. It's a Jeep, it's 547 RXJ. We do these things because we don't ever want to give somebody a ticket that doesn't honestly deserve it. Image comparison, real quick. Our camera's built for photo enforcement. Less than 140 watts flash every single time with the 12-bit imaging. We're downloading images 24/7, and everything is manufactured and designed and integrated by us, so it all works together to give you a seamless, accurate, dependable system. Less street furniture, as I talked about earlier. I don't have a box. I don't have a flash. I got one single pole. And then with loopless trigger radar, where we no digging in the ground, the radars are up here, and we've actually changed this, but I don't have a newer pole. Now it's kind of a gantry, just kind of leans over like this, a little more aesthetic, a little more artistic looking. And then the radars go on top. Back office processing. The thing that, I'm sure they said it in the first presentation, is the last judge of who does not get a ticket is the Zanesville Police Department, not the company. Officer comes in the morning, the camera is taking pictures all day, all night before. The camera has sent those pictures to Gatso. Gatso's taken them through a processing system and reviewed them, whether they meet Zanesville's business rules, and then we've shipped them to Zanesville via the web. Officer logs into Site Violation Manager, pulls up a screen. Officer sees a list of pending violations. Excuse me. Officer sees the 3 photos, stop bar, middle of the intersection, license plate. I can take any one of these pictures in here and blow it up and look at it and make sure I'm accurate. I can hit play video and I can watch the 12-second video clip. And these are the exact same photos and video that the person who gets a ticket gets the opportunity to see. They see the exact same evidence package as the officer. Here's all that data bar information, and here's the driver's information, the owner, the address, all that kind of stuff. All that pops up here automatically. The police department doesn't have to do that. Like I said, I can pull these pictures in here, and one of the things we do in this open white space, we can do things for the city here. You have volunteer firefighters. We can flag them in here so that if a volunteer firefighter runs a red light, we'll have that information, things like that. We can give you those kinds of additional information. We can tell you that this is the 3rd time they've run a red light, the 4th time, the 5th time, the 6th time. We can show you that kind of information. Typical, I got to do it over here. Typical violation video. In your lower right-hand lane, there's going to be a guy in a pickup truck with some wood. He's hauling right on down the road. This is the 12-second video clip that an officer would see. And got lucky. The guys were paying attention. So now I've looked at my 3 photos, I've watched the video, I can hit the button and create a violation. But the system's going to say to me, are you really positive you want to do this? We always want to err on the side of the driver. If you hit yes, then that violation goes into the system to Gatso for processing, and then when we send the violation in the mail. I can reject this violation. Maybe there's a truck there. I can't see the license plate. I'm just not convinced it's really a violation. I can reject this violation. And then I have to say, I might have rejected it for the DMV being invalid, or it was an emergency vehicle, funeral procession, whatever, and then there's a comment section. I can write down, because it was the cameraman from the television station, I didn't want to give him a ticket or whatever.
And what's important for that, again, is if you think about transparency, there's no doubt that people are going to file freedom of information requests about what is your system doing, how are you approving, how are you disapproving. So all this data, remember, we're going to give you monthly management reports so you can look at it. Who's doing what, who's approving, who's disapproving, what are the reasons. So we're looking for specific information, so it is very transparent to your community what's going on and how the system's being managed.
So under management reporting, there's a whole database of Excel spreadsheets that folks in the city will receive about how many violations this week, last week, this month, last month, this year, last year. Is the camera in the right place? Has the camera done its job? And there's so few violations there that maybe it's time to pull it out. Think about another intersection. There's total transparency in the system of what we're doing, how many violations are being turned down, quality of picture, efficacy of the program. Violation statistics, citations, management reports. This is the system where whoever has the head authority in the police department can assign officers to approve or disapprove violations. Those kinds of things are all done right out of this database here. And it's configurable to customer requirements. If there's not a report in there that the police department or the engineering or traffic or finance wants, it's easily customized and built for it. One of the things that you get with Gatso that's kind of an added benefit, it's just part of what we do, is Amber Alert. And I'll just right here, we have the ability to search for a single license plate involved in an abduction or serious crime in real time as a temporary search mission.